name is Shalita Maxine, and you're officially a BFF. My BFFs, I missed you guys so much, and I'm finally back with a client tutorial, and I'm so excited. Jumping right into it, I am cleaning her face off with witch hazel. As some of you guys know, I did move to Texas, so although I haven't been taking any clients or classes yet, I did manage to get a face model for today's tutorial. I am now priming her with my #1 fave NARS Pore and Shine Control. Her skin is very oily, so we went ahead and made sure we tended to those oily zones, T-zone and her lids. I'm color correcting, and with the color correction that I'm using, this is LA Girl Pro. You want to be very careful not applying too much product, because if it's a heavy amount of color correction, then it will show through the foundation depending on the coverage of that foundation that you use. I am now picking up my Max Brow eye pencil in the shade Onyx, and I am drawing her brows on. And it was so crazy because her brows naturally grow the way I do my brows purposely. I always cut the tails off my brows because it's so much easier to manipulate. And how about that's the way her brows grow? So I thought that was pretty cool. So as I complete the steps in the order that I normally do them, it gets a little crazy at the end because this is my first face in over a month. So I was very rusty, and you know, I'm in my new beauty room, so I'm trying to work all of that out. So just, it's going to get better, y'all. I promise. I love the lighting, I do, but you'll see the sun starts to go down and the lighting shifts. So I didn't edit the video that way. It was just the lighting coming in the window. But yeah, I wanted to update you guys. Texas has been an experience so far. It's been officially a month that we've been out here, and aside from the ice storm that I'm sure you guys know about, everything else is great. That was a pretty scary experience, and my husband and I experienced some rolling outages, but that was the worst of the worst for us, so we were definitely blessed. Now I am carving her brows out with concealer. You guys know this is my favorite part. I'm using the Max Precision 721 brush, and I am using e.l.f. concealers to carve out her brow. And as usual, I will definitely leave the shades in the description box. So because I did not want her brow to have that extreme halo, I did use a darker shade of the concealer in the beginning of her brow to bring it all together. Of course, the tail is going to be highlighted, so that's why I went about 2 to 3 shades lighter with that concealer. If y'all still haven't purchased this Max Precision 721 brush, I don't know what y'all doing, because this brush corrects so precisely. It really lives up to its name. So I advise you guys to grab yours. Using that same concealer shade that we did in the beginning of the brow, I'm going to go ahead and carve out the top of her brow. So here's a fun fact. How about this beauty has been following my makeup page for months? She said she was such a huge fan of my work. She found out I was moving to Texas, and then she saw on my page what part. She went to comment and asked me, you know, when will you start taking clients? And I said, well, right now I'm not doing clients. However, I am looking for a face model. Would you be interested? You know, just throwing it out there. She was extremely interested. How about later down the line, we found out we live right down the street from each other. And if you know anything about Texas, Dallas is huge. So for her to actually live down the street from me was the crazy coincidence. So, and she was just such a sweetheart. She bought me a bottle of wine. Like, the Southern hospitality, it's the Southern hospitality for me. Like, literally, I got to get used to it, because New York and New Jersey, they ain't that nice. So it's definitely an adjustment, but a pleasurable adjustment for sure. So because of the way her brows naturally grow, they grow straight. It took me a minute to go ahead and get those brows as aligned as possible. I don't like to call myself a perfectionist because nothing is perfect, but it did take me some time to get those brows as aligned and arched as I needed them to be. I went ahead and picked up my P. Louise Rumor Base in the shade 0.5, and I am using that as a base for her eyelids. We are doing a smoky eye today, so I went ahead and picked up my Glot Gel Liner in the number 77 and a shader brush to apply. And now I'm taking a blending brush to go ahead and blend that liner out. Whenever I do smoky eyes, especially black smoky eyes, I like to use this cream eyeliner, and I also like to use like any black base, because you won't get those creases in a smoky eye that you would normally get if you just went in with the shadow. Now on top of that liner, I did pick up that black shade from the Signature Drip palette, and I apply that right on top of that liner. I then picked up this brown shadow from the Zulu palette by Juvia's Place, and I just went right on top of that brown to go ahead and fade it out. You can just leave a plain black faded eyeshadow on the lid, but for me, I like the warmth too. I like warm smoky eyes, so that brown has a red undertone and it kind of gives it that really nice, you know, sultry, warm touch. So that's why I went ahead and did that. Now I'm doing the same exact thing to the other side. Now when you're doing smoky eyes, you want to be very careful with the height of a smoky eye, because you could get carried away because you want to blend, but then it gets higher and higher. So you have to be very mindful about how high you're getting. You don't want to touch the brow, but you want to have a good coverage over the eye, especially for the look we're doing. We're going to be adding glitter, so I didn't want the smoky eye to get completely lost. I did bring it a little bit higher than I normally would had it just been a plain matte smoky eye. Taking a clean blending brush, I'm just diffusing any areas that I see have those harsh lines, those lines of demarcation. I did want to add a little bit more brown, so I went back into the Zulu palette and I just added that brown, and now I'm going back with that black shadow brush. I didn't add any more product. I'm just using any residual shadow that was up there because I did not want to create a bigger mess. Sometimes when you dip back into the palette, you get too much shadow and now you feel like you got to distribute it. So to avoid that, I just used whatever powder was still on the brushes. Taking my NARS eyeliner in the shade Grand Via, I am lining her waterline. I did not want to do like an extra dramatic under eye, but I did want to do a nice clean under eye, and this definitely achieved that. I then picked up my Max Mini fan because her eyes was getting a little watery, and this fan is actually on my website. You guys should go grab you some. It's so imperative to have that in your kit, especially if you're doing clients or if you have very sensitive eyes. That dries it up super quick. I did apply some of that eyeliner to the top lid on the outer corner because I did not want it to look naked or see that space once we apply the lashes. Now I picked up my Max Hold and I am applying that directly to the center of her lid. I did not apply the glue all over her lid because I want the glitter to just be in the center. I'm going to be bringing it out just a little bit, but sometimes if you apply it all over the lid and then you don't fill in those areas, it could look very waxy. So again, you want to be mindful about how much product you're using and where you're distributing the product on your client's lid. I am using the Nightlife glitter from Max Lux Studios, and I'm applying that with a shadow brush. I felt like I just put a little bit too much glitter, so I am taking that spoolie and I'm just kind of taking some of that glitter off. I did do the other eye off camera to save time. Now I'm using my NYX Ultra Pearl Mania. It's a loose pigment. I just popped that right into her tear ducts just to kind of give her eyes more of a pop. I know she has a lot of pop with the glitter, but whenever I use this pearl, it kind of gives it that extra pop, that extra oomph without doing too much. I am using a thin layer of Calamine lotion to keep those oils in place. Her skin, like I said, gets oily, and we were under a lot of lights. So, you know, I want to make sure her makeup is A1. And y'all know Texas sun. If you know anything about Texas sun, it will beat you down. That's what I've learned. So we had to make sure that makeup was all the way together. Now I'm using the Black Opal foundation stick in the shade Truly Topaz. And then I'll be using NARS Tahoe in the center of her face. So as as you guys know, me and my clients, we just be talking, and I don't even be realizing it until I start to edit the video. I'm like, wow, we were talking a lot. But she was putting me on to a lot of things that I should know while living in Texas, so the conversation was pretty dope. I probably should have just let y'all listen because it was dope. I did spray her with Morphe setting spray. Because we are using two different consistencies, we're using cream and liquid, so that helps to blend it together seamlessly. I am using my Real Techniques Instapot face brush to go ahead and do that. Now, if this was just a regular client, I will go ahead and bring that foundation all the way down to her neck. I like to do that so it doesn't look like a mask necessarily. But for this, I'll be bringing it down a little bit with the sponge, not with the brush. So if you purchase the Max Blur blending sponge, you definitely want to use it when it's damp. You want it to be dry enough so that no liquid falls out, but you also want it to be wet enough that if you really squeeze it tight, the water secretes. So that's a good balance. You definitely don't want to use a dry beauty blender. It will take off the makeup instead of distributing the makeup evenly. I am now using a e.l.f. concealer to apply her highlight. And we're going to be doing the highlight directly under her eye, her chin, forehead, nose, and a little bit on her top lip. Using a setting brush to blend out that highlight, and then I'll be going back in with a damp beauty blender to make it as smooth as possible, so no crow's feet, no creases, none of that shows. So like I was saying, I am looking for face models. If you are in the DFW area and you would like to be a face model, definitely shoot me a DM on Caked by Max, or you can email an unfiltered no makeup photo to cakedbymax@aol.com with your name and your availability, and we can set it up, because I want to try to get as many tutorials out as I possibly can before I start taking clients and classes. So yeah, if you're interested, definitely do those things. Now to lightly contour, I am applying the Huda Beauty Tantour in the medium shade, and I'm just tapping that into the hollows of her cheeks, and I'm also bringing it up on her temple just to give her face that definition without the foundation looking completely flat. I am now using a little bit of the MAC Skinfinish in the shade Sun Power to go ahead and set that Tantour. So whenever you're using a cream, anything, you always want to make sure you set with powder. Otherwise, it can get really, really muddy, really, really messy. So it's important to go ahead and set with a powder. We are now going to contour her nose with Hazelnut from Black Opal. And y'all, my steps started to get all over the place. I was so rusty. It was things that I was doing ahead of time. And for me, like, you guys would never know. Like, no one really would ever know unless they really paid attention. But like, to me, I didn't get the results that I really, really wanted because I did steps incorrectly. And I was kicking myself because I'm like, what is wrong with me? Why can't I remember this? But really, makeup is truly one of those things, like, if you don't use it, you will lose it, because I was so lost. I was really lost. Like, oh my God, what do I do next? And then the lights was hot, so I was sweating. I couldn't think. But I got it together eventually. I am setting her highlight with Dermablend setting powder. I went in with my Fenty Beauty bronzer in the shade Mocha Mami, and this gives it a really nice warm tone, so when we do add blush we don't have to add as much because this is a great base for a blush. Now I am clearly setting her nose, which I should have been did, but you guys already I explained to y'all what was the deal. I am using the Aucoin blush to go ahead and blush her up, and she has very, very high cheekbones, so I really did not need to use that much. I'm now setting her cheek contour with the Dermablend, and it's really the steps out of place for me. It's like, girl, you is all backwards, but again, we made it do what it do. So because her brows weren't as close as I needed them to be, I did go in with the Mocha shade from Max Lux Studios, and I just did some hair-like strokes in the beginning to elongate her brow. I needed her brow to be just a little bit longer, a little bit closer together. I am using the Shabaria lashes. This is a new lash that dropped last Friday, and these are like the everyday but with drama lashes. I applied them off camera, and now I'm just going ahead pairing them with her natural lashes with my Max applicator. And this is the part where I was like, okay, you know you effed up, right? Like, you know you messed up, because I lined her lips and I forgot that I was doing gloss. I had no business lining her lips this soon. So y'all will see me like just do steps out of place, because I should have waited to the very end to line her lips. I am lining her lips with Chestnut from MAC. And now, as you can see, I'm wiping off the powder, which I should have did. I should have already sprayed her, but it is what it is. I'm not putting any extra product now. I'm just dusting away the setting powder that was on her face. I picked up my Max Gloss in the shade Sharon, and I'm applying that to the center of her lips. And I'm also using a small shadow brush to blend it all together with the liner. So to clean up her lips, I did pick up a MAC angled brush, and I'm just basically cleaning off. I couldn't find my Q-tip, so this was my next best thing, and I'm just cleaning up her lips a little bit. I added a little bit more gloss in the center because I wanted it a little bit more pink, just so it could be a nice contrast between the smoky eye and the lips. Spraying her down with more Morphe setting mist just to make that makeup set a little bit more. I am now using the Max Glow from Max Lux Studios in the shade Grand Prize, and this is such a beautiful loose highlight. As I'm applying these to the apples of her cheeks, you'll start to see like little crystals all around, and it's just the way they just sit on the face after. The shimmer is just everything to me. So this is a face and body highlight, perfect for photo shoots, just a perfect highlight all around. Grand Prize to me is super melanin friendly. I have two shades. They're both melanin friendly, but for me, a bronzy type of highlight is everything. So we did go ahead and use that on her face. So I wanted to give her chest just a little bit more shimmer since it was open, and it would be really, really nice for photos. So I did add that shimmer to her chest. Now I'm spraying her down with the Coop and Daisy setting mist, and I just added some Shantae clear gloss to her lips just to make it a little bit more juicier. And yes, we are complete, you guys. Oh man, I really fell in love with this look. I really did. I was unsure in the beginning, but I was like, when I pulled that hair into the front, I'm like, sis, you look so good. And she really, really loved her makeup. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys enjoyed this, please give me a big thumbs up. Another video will be coming soon. Wow, she just looked beautiful. And y'all, the lighting in my new studio is just crazy. Like, I really love the lighting. It just brings out everything. It makes everything look so vibrant. So yes, please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye, BFFs.